The border chaos was planned from the get-go, and her answer obviously was woefully inadequate, but even Democrats admit that her answer was not doesn't answer the concerns that Americans have about the invasion she and Joe ushered in the last 4 years or so. First up is our great new book, my great new book for Judicial Watch, Rights and Freedoms in Peril, an investigative report on the left's attack on America. It's timely, it's needed. If you're a patriot, you're going to want to read this book, and you're going to want to read it now before the election. I posted a video explaining why just the other day. Rights and Freedoms in Peril, an investigative report on the left's attack on America. Of course, that left-wing attack on America means attacking fair and free elections. This book details with receipts what happened in 2020 and what might happen in 2024. You really need to get it before the election, Rights and Freedoms in Peril, because it explains to you the threats to fair and free elections. Also, as importantly, and arguably more importantly, what can be done to protect fair and free elections. What must be done to protect fair and free elections? Rights and Freedoms in Peril. I encourage you to get this book, not just read it, but read it now before the election. Yeah, you can get the book at judicialwatchbook.com. Go to Amazon, Barnes & Noble. It's doing quite well on Amazon. And if you've read the book or are reading it and want to provide a review on Amazon or any of the other websites in which book reviews appear, I encourage you to do so, to encourage others to read it as well. And what I love about the book, here it is again, is that virtually everything happening today, meaning generally in the news, we cover in the book, but with receipts. Elections, as I talked about, the border, as I talk about, the lawfare against Trump, the crazed DEI reparation insanity. We cover it all in the book. And even if it doesn't matter who wins the election, the book is still going to be important because these issues aren't going away. So as part of this, the promotion for the book, I've been doing a ton of interviews, and I visited the studios of WMAL, the big talk station here in Washington, D.C., with my friend Vince Coglianese the other day, and I kind of explained why it's important to track these issues not only now, but post-election. Are they going to stop trying to pack the Supreme Court if Trump wins? Are they going to stop trying to jail Trump improperly if Trump wins? Are they going to stop targeting our First Amendment rights and say that disinformation and misinformation is a reason to censor American citizens if Trump wins? So not only does Trump need a clean house if he wins, as I would argue, but there's got to be this defense and offensive operation from those of us who want to promote the rule of law to protect the republic. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And of course, Trump might lose. And if that's the result, my new book is even more important. The immigration crisis, you can expect, will just continue. Vice President Harris was on TV earlier this week. She was interviewed by Bret Baier of Fox News. And she was asked basic questions about immigration, and her answer, and this is not a political analysis, this is an analysis basically related to public policy and the reality of what went on. Her answer was awful. Let's take a listen.
How many illegal immigrants would you estimate your administration has released into the country over the last 3.5 years?
Well, I'm glad you raised the issue of immigration because I agree with you. It is a topic of discussion that people want to rightly have. And you know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, but
right
do you,
now,
just a number, do you think it's 1 million, 3 million?
Brett, let's just get to the point, okay? The point is that we have a broken immigration system that needs to be repaired.
So your Homeland Security Secretary said that 85% of apprehensions.
I'm not finished. We have
it's a
an
rough
immigration
estimate of
system
6 million people have been released into the country. And let me just finish. I'll get to the question, I promise you.
I was beginning to answer.
So my book covers these issues. She refused to deal with the fact that President Biden, and she's responsible in part as the vice president, issued 90-plus regulations essentially opening the borders. And the first chapter in my new book for Judicial Watch is Planned Chaos at the Border. And this is the opening paragraph. On his first day of office, Joe Biden set about undoing as much of his predecessor's agenda and accomplishments as possible. Of the 17 executive orders he issued on January 20th, 2021, more than one-third of them related to immigration and the presence of millions of non-citizens in the country. So the border chaos was planned from the get-go, and her answer obviously was woefully inadequate, but even Democrats admit that her answer was not doesn't answer the concerns that Americans have about the invasion she and Joe ushered in the last 4 years or so. And so the issue is going to continue. She obviously hasn't grappled with the prior actions of her administration. So if she wins, who knows what's going to happen? And this is why you need to get the book, because we talk about non-citizens unlawfully present here in the United States and what to do about it and what's been behind the push and who's responsible. It's not just the feds, there are the states. We talk about how San Francisco had a sanctuary policy, or has a sanctuary policy, that's deadly dangerous. I mean, with story after story, I'm sure you've been tracking, she's refused to grapple with this as well, the fact that aliens, non-citizens, unlawfully present, have been released onto the streets, not only by the feds, but by locals who have been enforcing sanctuary policies to protect criminal aliens from being deported. It's deadly dangerous. And people have died, been raped, been assaulted, otherwise been victimized as a result of this crime wave, a completely preventable crime wave of aliens. And the other issue that it's going to continue, because the left has so much writing on this, is the issue of reparations. And in the book, I talk about the DEI scams. We already talked about last week, for instance, that we just sued the Air Force Academy over the brainwashing going on there of the cadets. And Judicial Watch has a massive civil rights lawsuit, a class action lawsuit against Evanston, Illinois, over America's first reparations program, essentially. Trying to stop that, where certain eligible blacks, and only because they're black, get $25,000. And here's Kamala Harris recently on reparations.
So my agenda, well, first of all, on the point of reparations, it has to be studied. There's no question about that. And I've been very clear about that position. In terms of my immediate plan, I will tell you a few of the following. One, as it relates to the...
So there you have it. She wants to study reparations. She wants to study the destruction of America through setting one race against the other, forcing one race to pay reparations to another, or even forcing some blacks to pay reparations to other blacks. It's insanity. It's anti-constitutional in my view, and would wreck the country if fully implemented. I mean, this is why you got to get the book, because it's never going to stop. And obviously we want politicians who share our values to try to stop it, but there's always going to be challenges. And my view is you don't know how to address the challenges unless you know what they are and have them adequately defined and have you focused on who's partly responsible or largely responsible and what to do about it. And this is why this book is so important. You really need to get it now. Rights and Freedom on the left's attack on America. It's available in bookstores now. This is the first week it's been released. It's been endorsed by our friends Kash Patel, by Tom Homan. Sean Hannity put out a nice statement about it. Catherine Herridge put out a nice statement supportive of Judicial Watch. And of course, I know so many millions of American citizens value our work. And this book documents it.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like our video down below.